I find myself confronted with a very difficult task at this point. Difficult? Why? Because I have to make clear a difference. The difference between the condition an animal finds himself in, experiencing the world, and the human finds himself in the same sense, experiencing the world. But for the human is conscious of the world. As Husserl already rightfully observed, for the human, the world, his first contact with the world is in its consciousness, in his consciousness. In contrast to the animal, which experiences world and self as one unit. It's one experience, one all-encompassing experience. Now, so I will have to try to make the difference, and the difficulty can be understood by the following illustration. Suppose someone has achromatopsy. What is achromatopsy? That's a disturbance in the visual capacity, disabling seeing colors. Someone suffering from achromatopsy only sees gray, which actually is not that exceptional because all sea mammals do not see, none of the sea mammals see colors. Seals, for instance, only see gray values, gray colors, gray nuances. Now, I will have to try for someone being victim of achromatopsy to explain what colors are. But actually, in our case, it's the reverse. We see colors, and I have to explain, I have to try to bring you that far that you can imagine what it is not to see colors. We are conscious, and I have to try to explain to you, to depict you what it is not to be conscious. Take another example. We all know the case of a cat which finds himself suddenly in front of a dog. The cat pulls back the head, starts to make noises. The back of the cat is curved, the tail upright. He's tense. Now, for the cat, there is not a cat there and the dog over on the other end, in front of him. It's one all-encompassing experience. There is only one unit. It's one experience. Now, for the man, for the human, it's quite different. We find ourselves here and the world over there. When I see the lamp there, the lamp is there. I'm here, the lamp is there. It's not one unit. And now for the difficult bit. One can say an animal is, but that sounds static. And an animal is everything but static. An animal is dynamic. In that sense, the being of an animal and action are two different perspectives on the same condition. So being active is actually one thing, one condition. Now the same goes for the human. The human in principle, in origin, being an animal. But in the course of his development, the human developed as a way of acting, making use of tools, making use of instruments, making use of means. In that sense, he did it that well and that sophisticated that his way of being in the world comes down to a basic scheme of mediated action. That's one thing. But language is an instrument as meant. Language consists of a set of elements, syllables, words, sentences, onto which he applies operations and he installs references to something in the world. He brings depictions, he makes a depiction, it allows him to make a depiction of something. For instance, if I'm saying there is a tree, well, there is a difference between saying there is a tree and the tree itself. There is a tree is the depiction, is the reference to what is in the world, what is actually in the world. Now, it is the same, it is a condition which is called by Sartre the difference between en soi and pour soi. En soi referring to the, Sartre doesn't use that word, but referring to the animal condition, while pour soi, the world is there in front of us, pour and for us. So it's different from the world. It's what we experience. The same can be found in Heidegger when he says, where he makes the difference between sein, the condition of the animal, and Dasein, the world, the word Dasein, there, being there in front of. That is the condition the human the condition the human finds himself in, the way of being in the world, and it has a particular consequence, a particular characteristic. Once the world conceived that way, there is no way back. You enter, you conceive, you put it there, and once you put it there, and that's the way you look at the world that way, through a screen of references, a screen of depictions, a screen of phenomenon. Yes. That's the way we have our world. It's irreversible. It's irreversible in the sense of the following illustration. Take a lump of clay, make a figurine with it, bake it in the oven, and once it has been baked, it can't be brought back to its original condition. So that is at the same time the difficult part, because it depicts the particular way man has his world, man he conceives, he installs his world, and at the same time it's an easy part because the technique itself, the procedure itself is not all that complicated.